Man down. I think that one was caused by the climate crisis. Good evening and welcome to We Lied to You News. Nobody brings you lies you can trust quite like we do. Today's top stories. There is proof that Biden's involved in a criminal bribery scheme? Well, that couldn't be. Safe and effective, resulting in paralysis and blindness? There's a new film that we definitely don't want you to watch. And an interview with Alex Jones? Yep, all that and more. But first, the only thing falling faster than Biden's approval ratings is Biden himself. After reading off a teleprompter as a way of delivering a commencement address at the Air Force Academy, Joe took a bit of a characteristic tumble. And if you look closely, at this point, he attempted to get up and fell back down, unable to get up under his own power, most likely due to Russian collusion. As I sit here with my hands folded together to make you think I'm more wholesome than I actually am, I'll tell you, our team of investigative propagandists have received the Secret Service earpiece audio recording of the time of the fall. Take a look.
Alright, Joe, let's see if you can even get to the damn mark this time. Remember, like we practice, walk around, go up and say hi to the general, and then get behind the podium. Yep, up the stairs, careful, careful, you know how you are with stairs. Yeah, okay, that podium, yes. Walk forward, say hi to the general, and stop. And stop. Where are you going? Not that, oh my God. Joe, go back to the podium. Joe, oh my God, this is so awkward. These poor cadets. Joe, to the podium. Could you, yeah, thank you. Direct him to the podium, please. Come on. There you go, old man. Get up there. No, the podium, you idiot. Where are you going? Oh, God. You know, I hope something happens to you later.
A few moments later.
All right, go ahead and walk off the stage now, Joe. Whoa, whoa, whoa! What happened? Did someone push you? Invisible stairs? Where? There's nothing there, Joe!
And now an Illuminati symbol. In response to how the fall made Biden look as bad as he is, the New York Times published an article earnestly attempting to hide the reality of it by saying Biden is sharp, fit, and has striking stamina. Who in their right mind could argue with that? The fact that the New York Times did say that is fact-checked as true. In spite of his striking stamina, sharpness, and fitness, the White House says the fall was caused by a sandbag on the ground. As it turns out, sandbags are a common occurrence on stages and are typically seen by cognitively aware people with their vision, which then informs their brain of the sandbag's existence and placement. The brain then informs the motor system of the body to not walk into the sandbag. However, we've obtained video footage of the forensics analysis of the fall, which shows the sandbag was actually not the cause of Joe's latest fall. Take a look. We expect federal charges to be brought against Trump any day now. In other news, the parent company of Bud Light, Anheuser-Busch, has now seen its value drop by $27 billion. We're still unsure as to what's causing the company's value to drop so dramatically. However, we're beginning to suspect that what's causing it are the arrest them all and lock them up. Are we still supposed to say that kind of thing? Speaking of which, there are reports going around that beloved actor and comedian Jamie Foxx has been left partially paralyzed and blind. How? Well, blood clots have become widely popular the past 2 years, and it appears as though Foxx had one of those in his brain. And completely unrelated, rumors are that Foxx had been filming a movie with Cameron Diaz, and there were certain mandates that the actor did not want to comply with. However, in the end, there's speculation that he did. And we can only say the mandates worked, because Foxx at least didn't get... Thank God he complied. In related news, A man who has spread around dangerous misinformation based on facts about such mandates and related bioweaponry is now presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. After being banned by all social media platforms for sharing baseless misinformation that's provably true, Instagram and Facebook have re-entered the election interference game by preventing his presidential campaign from establishing social media accounts. And we say good, because if people, let alone presidential candidates like RFK, are allowed to talk, then people like Jamie Foxx might be persuaded into being less compliant. And that could result in great harm being done. But Kennedy has had his Twitter account reinstated since Elon took over, and Elon even hosted a Twitter Spaces for the presidential candidate recently. In contrast, the mainstream media, brought to you by Pfizer, is giving the viable presidential candidate zero coverage. However, word about Kennedy is getting out, as he's recently appeared on some of the world's most popular podcasts, including Russell Brand, Jordan Peterson, All In, London Real, Crystal and Sagar, and the Aubrey Marcus podcast. And just so you know, we forbid you from listening to any of those, or else our plan of silencing Kennedy, simply because we care, will not work. And in some good news, over the weekend, the type of government that we will have if you allow it, the Chinese Communist Party, arrested Hong Kong citizens for commemorating the Tiananmen Square massacre on its 34th anniversary. A little history lesson on that. The Tiananmen Square massacre occurred on June 4th, 1989. A crowd of over 1 million people gathered in the square protesting communism and demanding freedom. The Communist Party then brought in 250,000 soldiers who proceeded to open fire on the disarmed population, killing over 10,000 innocent citizens. The communist government has since forbidden its citizens from even speaking of the event, where they face 3.5 years in prison if they do. Even to this day. Through its always on the right side of history censorship, the Chinese Communist Party forbids its citizens from talking about it because they consider it to be dangerous misinformation. Sounds familiar. Such dangerous misinformation that they arrest people for even acknowledging it, which helps protect the public from knowing about it. History repeats itself unless it's learned from. The communists are doing their best to keep people from learning history so they can't learn from it, so the communists can do it again. And on a note of empowering us to learn from history so it doesn't have to be repeated, over the weekend a film premiered in Austin, Texas that powerfully shines the light on the totalitarian communistic movement that's been happening here in America. Plandemic 3, The Great Awakening. If enough people see it, this is the film that could unfortunately undo all the hard work we've been doing for your benefit with our altruistic efforts in censorship, federal corruption, election shenanigans, mandates, 24/7 propaganda, and weaponized federal agencies. You can watch The Great Awakening for free, but please don't, at plandemicseries.com. At the premiere of The Great Awakening, there were red carpet interviews that we didn't like. Take a look at these 4 lunatic conspiracy theorists exercising the dangerous witchcraft of free speech. And we're back with the one and only Alex Jones, Mrs. Alex Jones, and the one and only Mickey Willis. Alex, I'd imagine you've got some people out there who know who you are. We're at the premiere of The Great Awakening. Why are you here?
This film could be the most important film ever made. I've seen large excerpts, not the final cut. It documents this assault on humanity, this tyrannical takeover, this seduction of our minds, this attempt at a total takeover of society. So we must defeat this, not just for the dead and the abused from what we've seen in the last few years, but because they're planning new pandemics, new lockdowns, more controls. This is the most important subject, and Mickey Willis is the best filmmaker on the topic. I can't wait to see the final cut. It's up to the viewers and listeners to make it number one, to go out to not hundreds of millions like Plandemic, but billions, and we'll break the back of Bill Gates and Fauci once and for all. Your future's in your hands. This isn't a goddamn joke. Get this film out or you're dead.
Now, Alex, I think I speak for everybody.
a little career advice. If you could bring a little bit of passion to your work, I think the message would go down.
Serious. They killed us with ventilators. They killed us with lockdowns. They killed us denying therapeutics. They're starting World War III with Russia. They're saying the UN says we ended the last pandemic to be heroes when the next pandemic comes. They're preparing to launch the next attack. So, I mean, it's real. So, I mean, damn right I got passion. I didn't like being locked down for a year and a half. I didn't like the third world lockdown for over 2 years, mass starvation and death. But you were fighting, Mickey was fighting, my wife was fighting, and we're fighting together. This film is so damn important, folks. I can feel the zeitgeist. Thousands of people here tonight. Victory's in our hands. If we got the ball, now we got to carry the ball down the field.
I used to watch Alex Jones. Now I study Alex Jones. Thank you, Alex, for being here.
Brother, love you. So my wife's her biggest fan, by the way.
Oh, amazing.
She wants to marry you.
We don't like those guys, do we? In other news, the FBI has confirmed that they have a document alleging that Joe Biden took part in a $5 million bribery scheme and that the document came from a highly credible source. In case you're unfamiliar with the alleged criminal in the bribery scheme, here he is. That's basically how they do it in Ocean's 11. The man literally stands for nothing. So many speculate that he would fall for taking part in criminal activity that puts our nation at risk. But oddly enough, the FBI is refusing to hand over the very unclassified document to a congressional investigative committee. Very unusual that the FBI wouldn't be fully pursuing someone on the left. What's next for this informant that the criminal bribery scheme information came from? Well, even though we don't know who he, she, they, them, zer, or itself is, we suspect they've got a medical history that might lead to them dying suddenly. Perhaps it'll come down with a sudden case of hanging from a tree with a gunshot blast to the chest. That kind of thing is going around. And in our final story, the widely acclaimed documentary, What is a Woman, celebrated its 1-year anniversary of being published. And to celebrate its 1-year anniversary, the film that seeks to answer the question that we still refuse to figure out was set to be posted on Twitter by the Daily Wire for people to watch for free. But then drama ensued as Twitter decided to throttle the film due to instances in it where people are hatefully referred to by their actual gender. This culminated in Elon firing people, the film being posted to Twitter, and Elon tweeting about it. Every parent should watch this. In the past week on Twitter alone, What is a Woman has been viewed more than 180 million times. The film's creator Matt Walsh also pointed out that after a year of its release, the film is also the #1 streaming movie on Rotten Tomatoes. These numbers show that believing in what's called reality is a rather powerful movement at the moment. But will that trend continue? Certainly not if we have anything to say about it. So keep watching. That's it for tonight's news. Biden face plants. The FBI doesn't think there's anything wrong with Joe's criminal bribery. Communism kills people. The Great Awakening might just kill communism. Kennedy's popularity is rising. And out of respect for women, it's still politically correct to not acknowledge what they are. And here's a pregnant man. Let that sink in. It's a man. And don't even question it, bigot. Good night. Hey, freedom lover. Here's a pop quiz for you. How many sailors throughout history died from scurvy due to a vitamin C deficiency during the time of Columbus? A, 20,000, B, 200,000, or C, 2 million? Got your answer? Drum roll, please. The correct answer is 2 million. 2 million people died before we figured that out. It's kind of crazy. But here's where it gets crazier. There's a little known deficiency right now killing millions of people around the world. What's the disease? Insomnia. According to a study published by Academic Press, magnesium deficiency is a leading cause of sleep disruption in both children and adults. The problem is, not just any magnesium will do. Recent studies have shown there's actually 7 different forms of magnesium, and our bodies need them in precisely the right balance for proper sleep. And there's only one magnesium supplement on the market that has the full spectrum of all 7 forms that your body needs, and it's called Magnesium Breakthrough. And I have to tell you, when I take Magnesium Breakthrough, which I now do every night, my body feels like it's just on, like it's been getting something it's been desperately needing, and my sleep is amazing. To learn more, go to magnesiumbreakthrough.com/JP and use the code AWAKEN to get 10% off your first bottle. If it doesn't help with your sleep, digestion, and energy levels like it did for me, Bioptimizers will give you a prompt refund on the spot, guaranteed. Once again, just go to magnesiumbreakthrough.com/JP and use code AWAKEN to get 10% off your first bottle. Don't miss out. There's a good chance this is the missing link your body's been craving.